My wife left me for my own father, completely shattering my reality. But I refuse to let their betrayal end my story. Watch this journey from beginning to end and tell me in the comments, what would you have done?
When I found out my wife left me for my own father, I thought my life was officially over. The betrayal was so absolute it shattered my reality, but I refused to let that ruin be the end of my story. Instead, I used the wreckage to rebuild something entirely new. I went from absolute devastation to a stronger, unrecognizable life after the ultimate family betrayal. This isn't just about breaking down. It's a chronicle of the silent, rigorous process of rebuilding myself from scratch. Discover how I turned the darkest moment of my life into my greatest triumph. What do you do when your foundation is completely destroyed by the people you trusted most? I rebuilt, stronger than ever, proving that absolute ruin is merely the foundation for redemption. See the shocking journey of how I rose above the ashes of a shattered marriage and broken family. I'm Jasper, 34 years old, and I found out my wife was sleeping with my father on a Tuesday in March. I came home early from a business trip, let myself into our house quietly, wanting to surprise Stella with flowers and her favorite takeout. Instead, I heard sounds from upstairs. Laughter, my wife's voice, and then another voice. Lower, familiar, my father's. I stood in the foyer for a full minute, brain refusing to process what my ears were telling me. Then I walked upstairs, opened our bedroom door, and saw them. My wife of 6 years, my father of 62 years. In our bed, the flowers fell from my hands. Stella screamed. My father, Douglas, just stared at me with an expression I couldn't read. Not shame, not guilt, something closer to defiance. I didn't yell, didn't rage, just backed out of the room, walked downstairs, got in my car and drove. I don't remember where. I just drove until I couldn't see the road through my tears. Before I tell you how I rebuilt my entire life from that moment, if this story resonates with you, please subscribe and comment below. Tell me where you're watching from and what time is it there. Your support means everything to people sharing their truth. Now let me take you back 7 years to show you how we got here. I met Stella when I was 27. She was a paralegal at a firm I worked with. Beautiful, charming, ambitious. We fell fast. 6 months of dating. A proposal. A wedding a year later. My father was my best man. He gave a toast about how proud he was. How Stella was perfect for me. How he couldn't wait to see us build a life together. My mother had died 3 years earlier. Cancer. It destroyed my father. They'd been married 40 years. I'd never seen him so broken. Stella was kind to him, invited him to dinners, included him in our lives, treated him like family. I thought she was being generous, thoughtful, loving. Now I know she was positioning. The first 3 years of marriage were good. We bought a house. Stella got promoted. I started my own consulting business. We talked about having kids, building a future. My father came over every Sunday for dinner, became a fixture in our lives. Stella would cook his favorite meals, laugh at his stories, touch his arm when she talked to him. I thought it was sweet, how well they got along, how much she cared about making him feel included. Then things shifted. Year 4, Stella became distant, stopped initiating intimacy, stayed late at work constantly, seemed irritated whenever I was around. Are we okay? I'd ask. We're fine. Just stressed with work. Is there anything I can do to help? No. I just need space. I gave her space. Focused on my business. Tried to be understanding. Meanwhile, my father was around more than ever. Helping with home repairs. Stopping by when I was traveling. Being helpful. Dad's been great, Stella would say. Fix the sink. Help me with the yard. You're lucky to have such a supportive father. I was lucky. So lucky I didn't see what was happening. Year 5, Stella asked for separate bedrooms. I'm not sleeping well. I need my own space. Is this about us? Our marriage? No. It's about sleep. Don't make it a bigger thing than it is. So we slept in separate rooms. Barely saw each other. Lived like roommates. I suggested counseling. She said she was too busy. Suggested we take a vacation. She said she couldn't get time off work. Suggested we have a date night. She had plans with friends. Every attempt to reconnect was met with resistance. But she still had energy for my father. Still cooked for him. Still laughed at his jokes. Still invited him over when I was traveling. I started traveling more for work. Throwing myself into my business. building something I could control, something that wouldn't reject me. My company grew. Revenue doubled, then tripled. I was successful, respected, making real money. But my marriage was dying, and I couldn't figure out why. Then came that Tuesday in March. The business trip that ended early. The flowers. The sounds from upstairs. The image I'll never unsee. After I drove aimlessly for hours, I ended up at a hotel. Checked in. Sat on the bed. Stared at the wall. My phone rang. Stella. I didn't answer. My father. I didn't answer. My phone buzzed with texts. Jasper, we need to talk. Please come home. Let me explain. There was no explanation. No words that could make this okay. I turned off my phone, lay down, and stared at the ceiling until sunrise. The next morning, I went to a lawyer. I need a divorce, and I need it handled immediately. The lawyer, a woman named Quinn, listened to my story without expression. When I finished, she leaned back. That's one of the worst things I've heard. And I've heard a lot. Can we move fast? Depends. Do you have a prenup? No. Joint assets. House. Savings. Investment accounts. This could get messy, especially if she contests. She won't have grounds to contest. I have evidence. I'd gone back to the house that morning while they were both gone. Set up my phone to record. Left it running. Got hours of footage, including Stella and my father talking about me, about their affair, about how long it had been going on. 2 years. 2 years they'd been sleeping together, planning a future, laughing about how oblivious I was. Quinn watched the footage. Her expression darkened. This is damning. We can use it. Will I have to show it in court? Probably not. The threat of it will be enough. No one wants this public. She was right. When Stella's lawyer saw what we had, they settled immediately. Stella got nothing. The house was mine. The savings were mine. She walked away with her car and her shame. The divorce was final in 6 months. My father tried to call. I blocked his number. Tried to come to my office. I had security remove him. Tried to send letters. I returned them unopened. He was dead to me. More than dead. He was erased. My sister Jade called. Jasper, we need to talk about Dad. There's nothing to talk about. He's devastated. He wants to apologize. I don't care what he wants. He made a terrible mistake. He didn't make a mistake. He made a choice. For 2 years. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. He's still our father. He stopped being my father the moment he touched my wife. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. He destroyed my marriage, my family, my trust. And you want me to forgive him because he shares my DNA. I want you to consider that people are complicated. That he was lonely after Mom died. That Stella manipulated him. Stella didn't manipulate him. They chose each other. They chose to betray me. Together. That's on both of them. Jade sighed. What do you want from me? Nothing. Just don't ask me to forgive him. Because I never will. I hung up. Blocked her number too. I was done with all of them. The divorce finalized. I had my house. My business. My freedom. But I was completely alone. No wife. No father. No family willing to choose me over him. And I was broken. Not just sad. Shattered. Some nights I couldn't sleep. Some days I couldn't eat. I'd built my entire adult life around Stella. Around the family we were supposed to create. Now it was gone. And I didn't know who I was without it. That's when I made a decision. I could collapse. Let this destroy me. Spend the rest of my life as a victim. Or I could rebuild. Not just survive. Thrive. Become someone so much better than who I'd been that the betrayal would look like a favor. I chose to rebuild. Started with therapy. A counselor named Dr. Brennan who specialized in trauma and betrayal. Tell me what you're feeling, he said in our first session. Rage. Humiliation. Grief. Everything at once. That's normal. You've experienced profound betrayal from the 2 people who should have been safest. How do I move past it? You don't move past it. You move through it. You process. You grieve. You rebuild. But you don't skip the pain. So I didn't skip it. I sat with the rage. The humiliation. The grief. Let myself feel everything. Cried in therapy sessions. Screamed into pillows at home. Wrote letters I never sent to Stella and my father. Pouring out everything I felt. The therapy was brutal. But necessary. Slowly, the acute pain dulled to a chronic ache. Still there. But manageable. I focused on my business. Threw myself into work with an intensity I'd never had before. Used to work 40 hours a week. Now I worked 70. Not running from pain. Channeling it. Every hour I worked was an hour I wasn't thinking about them. Every client I landed was proof I had value beyond my marriage. Every dollar I made was evidence I could build something that wouldn't betray me. My business exploded. Revenue doubled again. I hired more staff. Opened a second office. Landed major clients I'd been pursuing for years. People noticed. Jasper's on fire lately. What changed? Focus, I'd say. Not betrayal. Not rage. Just focus. I started working out. Not casually. Intensely. Hired a trainer. Went to the gym 6 days a week. Lifted until my muscles screamed. Ran until my lungs burned. Used physical pain to drown emotional pain. My body transformed. Lost 20 pounds. Gained muscle. Looked better at 34 than I had at 24. People complimented me. You look great. What's your secret? Discipline, I'd say. Not mentioning it was discipline born from heartbreak. From the need to prove I could control something when everything else had spun out. I bought a new house. Sold the one I'd shared with Stella. Too many memories. Too much pain embedded in the walls. The new house was mine. My taste. My choices. No compromise. No shared decisions. Just mine. I decorated it exactly how I wanted. Bought art I loved. Furniture that felt right. Created a space that was entirely my own. It felt like reclaiming myself. I traveled. Went to places I'd always wanted to see, but Stella had never been interested in. Japan. New Zealand. Norway. Iceland. Traveled alone. Ate alone. Explored alone. And slowly learned that alone didn't mean lonely. That solitude could be peaceful instead of painful. I made new friends. People who knew me post-betrayal. Who didn't know the broken version. Who only saw the man I was becoming. We'd have dinners. Go hiking. Attend events. They never asked about my past. Never pressed when I kept things surface level. They just accepted me as I was. And that acceptance was healing. 1 year after the divorce, I looked at my life and barely recognized it. New house. Thriving business. Healthy body. Peace of mind. I'd rebuilt. Not back to what I was. Into something better. Then I met Ivy. She was a client. Owned a small marketing firm that needed operational consulting. We had our first meeting in my office. She was direct. Intelligent. Funny. I've heard good things about your work, she said. I need someone who can help me scale without losing my sanity. I can do that, but it requires honesty. About what's working and what's not. I'm very honest. Good. So am I. We worked together for 3 months. Professional. Appropriate. But there was something there. A connection. An ease. When the consulting project ended, she asked me to dinner. To celebrate the successful engagement, she said. Is this a business dinner? I asked. Do you want it to be? I thought about it. About Stella. About trust. About whether I was ready. No, I said. I don't. We went to dinner. Talked for 4 hours. About work. Life. Everything except my past. When she asked about previous relationships, I kept it vague. It didn't work out. That's all that matters. She didn't push. Just nodded. Fair enough. We all have pasts we'd rather not discuss. We started dating. Slowly. Carefully. I was guarded. Hypervigilant. Looking for signs of deception. But Ivy was straightforward. Said what she meant. Did what she promised. Never gave me reason to doubt. 3 months in, she asked, what happened to make you so cautious? I was married before. It ended badly. How badly? She cheated. With someone close to me. It destroyed my ability to trust easily. I'm sorry that happened to you. It made me who I am now. I'm not sorry about that. She studied me. You're different from anyone I've dated. More careful. More self-contained. Is that a problem? No. It's honest. I appreciate that. We kept dating. 6 months. Then a year. She never pushed for more than I could give. Never demanded I share things I wasn't ready to share. Just let me be exactly who I was. And slowly, my walls came down. Not completely, but enough. 2 years after my divorce, Ivy and I moved in together. Different house. Fresh start. We built something new. Something that was ours. Not mine. Not hers. Ours. I proposed a year later. She said yes. We got married at a small ceremony. Just close friends. Ivy's family. None of mine. She knew by then. About Stella. About my father. About the betrayal that had shattered my previous life. Do you want to invite them? She asked when we were planning. See if they've changed? Offer reconciliation. No. That door is closed. Permanently. I understand. But Jasper, are you sure? Years have passed. People change. Not enough. And even if they did, I don't owe them forgiveness. I don't owe them access to my new life. She nodded. Then we build our life without them. And we did. Ivy and I created something beautiful. Marriage based on honesty. Trust earned slowly. Partnership instead of ownership. It was everything my first marriage wasn't. 3 years into our marriage, Ivy got pregnant. We had a son. Named him Rowan. He was perfect. Changed everything. Made me understand what real love looked like. Unconditional. Pure. Uncomplicated. I looked at this tiny person and swore he'd never experienced the betrayal I had. That I'd be the father mine never was. Consistent. Trustworthy. Present. My business continued growing. Hit 8 figures in annual revenue. I'd built something significant. Something that provided for my family. Something I was proud of. For years after my divorce, I was unrecognizable from who I'd been. Successful businessman. Devoted husband. New father. Healthy. Happy. Whole. Then my sister called. I'd unblocked her number a year earlier. We talked occasionally. Surface level stuff. Never about our father. Jasper, it's Dad. He's sick. My stomach tightened. What kind of sick? Cancer. Pancreatic. Stage 4. Doctors say he has maybe 3 months. I felt nothing. No sadness. No concern. Just cold acknowledgement. I'm sorry to hear that. Will you come see him? Before it's too late. No. Jasper, he's dying. Whatever happened between you, he's still your father. He stopped being my father when he betrayed me. His dying doesn't change that. He wants to apologize. To make peace before he goes. He had 4 years to apologize. He chose not to. His urgency now doesn't obligate me. Please. For me. For closure. I have closure. I closed that door years ago. His death won't reopen it. Jade started crying. How can you be so cold? I'm not cold. I'm protected. There's a difference. She hung up. Ivy found me sitting in our living room afterward. Your father? Dying. Cancer. 3 months. How do you feel? Nothing. Should I feel something? There's no should. You feel what you feel. Jade wants me to see him. To reconcile before he dies. Do you want to? I thought about it. Really thought. Imagined walking into a hospital room. Seeing my father weak and dying. Hearing an apology that came 4 years and 1 terminal diagnosis too late. No, I said. I don't want to see him. I don't want his deathbed apology. I don't want to give him the peace he denied me. Then don't. People will judge. Say I'm heartless. Unforgiving. Let them. You're not heartless. You're honest about your limits. She was right. I didn't go. Didn't call. Didn't send a card. I just continued living my life. My father died 6 weeks later. Jade called to tell me. He's gone. Died this morning. I'm sorry for your loss. He asked for you. At the end. Wanted to see you. I'm sorry he died without getting what he wanted. But that was his consequence to live with. You're cruel. I'm honest. He made choices. I made mine. Neither of us got to escape the consequences. The funeral was the following week. I didn't attend. Ivy asked if I was sure. Completely. He doesn't get my presence just because he's dead. No regrets. None. I mourned the father I thought I had years ago. The man who died wasn't that person. So there's nothing to mourn. Jade sent me an email afterward. Long emotional. Accusing me of being heartless. Of dishonoring our father's memory. Of being unable to forgive. I read it once. Then deleted it. She didn't understand. How could she? She hadn't been the one betrayed. Hadn't walked in on her spouse and father together. Hadn't had her entire foundation destroyed. Her forgiveness came easy because her pain wasn't as deep. Mine came hard. Or not at all. I focused on my life. My real life. Ivy. Rowan. My business. The things that mattered. My company hit 9 figures. We expanded internationally. I hired a CEO to run operations while I focused on strategy. Became chairman instead of operator. Had more time for family. For Rowan's soccer games. For date nights with Ivy. For the life I'd built. 5 years after the divorce, a journalist reached out. Wanted to interview me for a business magazine. You've built an incredible company. I'd love to hear your story. We met at my office. Professional. Straightforward. Then she asked, what drove you? What made you push so hard to build this? I thought about lying, giving a sanitized answer. But something made me honest. Betrayal. My wife left me for my father. It destroyed my life. So I built a new one. Better than before. Her pen stopped. That's incredible. Devastating, but incredible. It was. But it taught me something valuable. What's that? That your worst moment doesn't define you. Your response to it does. I could have collapsed. Become bitter. Spent years as a victim. But you didn't. No. I rebuilt. Made myself stronger. More successful. Happier. And proved that betrayal doesn't have to be the end of your story. The article ran 2 months later. Featured my business success. But also the personal story. The betrayal. The rebuilding. The triumph. It went viral. Thousands of people reached out, sharing their own stories of betrayal, of rebuilding, of choosing strength over victimhood. Your story gave me hope. I thought I was alone. Thank you for sharing. How did you forgive them? That last question came up repeatedly. My answer was always the same. I didn't forgive them. I released them. There's a difference. What's the difference? Forgiveness implies reconciliation. Releasing means you stop carrying their weight. You let go without letting them back in. People struggled with that. Wanted me to say I'd forgiven. That I'd found peace through reconciliation. But I'd found peace through boundaries. Through refusing to let people who destroyed me once have access to destroy me again. 6 years after the divorce, Stella reached out. Email. Jasper, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. But I need to say I'm sorry. For everything. For the affair. For the betrayal. For destroying what we had. I read it 3 times. Felt absolutely nothing. It's been years. I've been in therapy. I understand now how badly I hurt you. How wrong I was. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I see it now. I see what I destroyed. I didn't respond. Forwarded it to Ivy. Should I respond? Do you want to? No. But people always say closure requires communication. Does it? Or does it require releasing the need for their acknowledgement? She was right. Again, I didn't need Stella's apology. Didn't need her recognition of the harm she'd caused. I'd moved on without it. Her apology was for her benefit, not mine. And I owed her nothing. I deleted the email. Moved on with my day. 7 years after the divorce, Rowan turned 4. We threw him a birthday party. Friends. Family. Ivy's parents. People who'd earned their place in our lives. I watched my son blow out candles. Make a wish. Smile with pure, uncomplicated joy. And I realized something. The betrayal that nearly destroyed me had led to this. To this child. This wife. This life. If Stella hadn't left me, I'd never have met Ivy. Never had Rowan. Never built the business I had. Never become the man I was. The betrayal was still wrong. Still painful. Still unforgivable. But it had created space for something better. That didn't make it okay. But it made it bearable. Later that night, Ivy asked, "Do you ever think about them? Stella and your father?" "Sometimes. But not with pain anymore. Just acknowledgement that they existed. That they shaped me. Then I let it go. No anger. No anger. They're consequences I don't carry anymore. That's growth. That's survival. I chose to thrive instead of staying wounded. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me too. That's new." She smiled. "Good. You've earned the right to be proud." 8 years after the betrayal, I sold my company. Exit valuation of $400 million. My share was $180 million. I was wealthy beyond anything I'd imagined. Set for life. My family secure forever. I could have retired, traveled, done nothing. Instead, I started a new venture, helping other betrayed spouses rebuild, offering consulting, mentorship, support, turning my pain into purpose. Why do this? People asked. Why focus on your worst experience? Because it's my most valuable one. I learned more from being destroyed than I ever learned from success. How do you help people? I show them what's possible. That rebuilding is an option. That their betrayers' actions don't define their future. Do you talk about forgiveness? No. I talk about release. About boundaries. About choosing yourself when others have chosen against you. The work was fulfilling. Watching people transform. Seeing them go from broken to strong. From victims to survivors to thrivers. 9 years after the divorce, Jade reached out again. Jasper, can we talk? About what? About us. Our relationship. I miss my brother. You chose Dad. You believed his version. You called me cruel. I was wrong. I didn't understand. I do now. What changed? I got divorced. My husband cheated. Left me for someone else. And suddenly I understood. The betrayal. The rage. The need for boundaries. I'm sorry that happened to you. Are you really? Or are you thinking I deserved it for not supporting you? I thought about lying. But honesty had become my default. Both. I'm sorry you're in pain. And yes, part of me thinks this is karma teaching you what you should have learned through empathy. That's harsh. That's honest. You want a relationship with me, it has to be built on honesty. I don't do performative family anymore. I can do honest. Can you? Because honest means accepting I'll never forgive Dad. That I don't regret skipping his funeral. That I'm not sorry he died without my forgiveness. She was quiet. Then, I can accept that. It's your right. Good. Then we can talk. Build something new. But it won't look like what we had before. We rebuilt our relationship. Slowly. Carefully. Based on mutual respect instead of shared DNA. Jade met Ivy. Met Rowan. Became part of our lives. Not central. But present. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. 10 years after the betrayal that nearly destroyed me, I stood in my home office looking at everything I'd built. Successful business sold. New venture thriving. Beautiful family. Rebuilt relationship with my sister. Peace of mind. I'd started with nothing. No wife. No father. No family. No identity beyond the man who'd been betrayed. And I'd built this. Not despite the betrayal. Because of what I'd learned from it. That I was stronger than I knew. That I could survive anything. That my worth wasn't determined by who stayed or left. That I could build a life on my own terms. Ivy found me there. What are you thinking about? How far I've come. How different my life is from what I planned. Better or worse? Different. But yes, better. Because it's real. Built on honesty instead of illusion. Any regrets? About Stella and my father? About how I handled it? Yes. I thought carefully. I regret trusting blindly. I regret not seeing the signs. But I don't regret cutting them off. I don't regret enforcing boundaries. I don't regret refusing to forgive. Even now, 10 years later, especially now, because I can see what I built without them. See who I became without their influence. See the life I have because I chose myself. That's powerful. That's survival. And I'm grateful for it. 11 years after the divorce, I spoke at a conference. About betrayal, rebuilding, choosing strength. Hundreds of people attended. Afterward, people lined up to talk. One woman, early 40s, crying. My husband left me for my sister. I don't know how to move forward. Yes, you do. You just don't trust it yet. I feel broken. You are broken. But broken things can be rebuilt stronger than they were before. How? By choosing yourself. Every single day. By building boundaries. By refusing to carry their shame. By using the pain as fuel instead of letting it consume you. She hugged me. Thank you for showing us it's possible. It's more than possible. It's inevitable if you choose it. That night, Ivy and I lay in bed. You helped a lot of people today. I just told them what I learned. That betrayal is an opportunity. Most people don't see it that way. Most people are stuck in victim mentality. And I get it. Being betrayed is awful. But staying a victim is a choice. You really believe that? Completely. I was victimized. But I refused to stay a victim. That's what made the difference. Some people can't do that. Then they stay broken. And that's sad. But it's also their choice. She turned to face me. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you'd forgiven them? If you'd tried to reconcile? No. Because I know what would have happened. They'd have minimized the betrayal. Expected me to move on faster than I was ready. Violated my boundaries repeatedly. And I'd have ended up bitter and resentful instead of healed and whole. You're sure? Positive. Some relationships need to end. Not every betrayal deserves forgiveness. And accepting that is freedom, not cruelty. 12 years after my wife left me for my father, I've built a life they couldn't touch, couldn't diminish, couldn't take credit for. It's entirely mine. My success, my family, my peace. And I earned every piece of it. Not by forgiving, not by reconciling, not by letting them back in, but by releasing them completely, by choosing myself ruthlessly. By building something so strong their betrayal became irrelevant. People still ask if I regret not forgiving. If I wish I'd reconciled before my father died. If I think I'm heartless. My answer is always the same. I'm not heartless. I'm self-protected. I built boundaries that keep me safe. I chose peace over performance. I selected my family instead of accepting it by default. And I refused to apologize for any of it. My wife left me for my father. That's a fact. It was devastating, humiliating, soul-destroying. But it didn't destroy me. I destroyed the life I had and built something better. Stronger. More authentic. More mine. That's not a tragedy. That's a triumph. I'm Jasper. I was betrayed by the two people who should have been safest. I didn't forgive them. I didn't reconcile. I didn't give them deathbed absolution. Instead, I rebuilt. Stronger than ever. Better than before. More whole than I'd ever been. And I did it without them. Despite them. Because of what they taught me through their betrayal. That some people don't deserve forgiveness. That boundaries are love for yourself. That rebuilding is always an option. That strength comes from choosing yourself when everyone else chooses against you. My wife left me for my father. I rebuilt stronger than ever. Not despite the betrayal. Because I chose to. That's my story. That's my triumph. That's my truth. The end.